Okay, hopefully you had an opportunity to practice your troubleshooting skills and see how you can use the tools at our disposal to try and solve these kind of problems. And Redux DevTools are amazing. I love these tools. They can help with just about any problem that you have to do with your Redux state. And if we repeat one of the problems, let's go ahead and add a product. And we saw two loading indicators at the same time, but that happened very quickly. Thankfully, we can go back in time and jump to our pending status and see exactly what happened when we clicked on that particular button. And we can see our two loading spinners in action here. And now we can examine the state. And we can compare what we're checking for in our loading flags to see why this could have happened. And if we take a look at the state, and we take a look at the basket and the status, well, we can see that we're pending add item 14 in this case. So something's happened here, and if we go and take a look at our loading indicator, then what we're using here is the status includes pending add item plus the item plus product ID. Now, what this is looking for is a string of text that matches or at least includes the elements or all the elements that we've got inside here. But this is not accurate enough. This includes is a bit too loose for what we're doing here. So what we really want to do is check to see if this is exactly equal the pending add item plus the item.productID. And the error eventually goes away. But what we should find now, if we go back and try that again, what we should find, if I just refresh the page, is that now we'll only have one loading indicator, whichever one of these we choose. Perfect. Let's just refresh the page again and take a look at our other problems. Now, the major problem is when we try and remove an item, we're getting this not a number. And this needs further investigation. So what tool do we have at our disposal? The same tool, Redux DevTools. And if we click on the fulfilled option here, the pending is just going to tell us that the status is pending remove item 16. Obviously, to resolve the loading indicator issue, then we're going to use the same trick that we used for the add item. In fact, let's do that right now so that we clean up all of these problems as we find them. So instead of status.includes, we're going to say is exactly equal to, followed by the item.productID, and we'll do the same here as well. And remove the closing parentheses here. And wait for VS Code to catch up and decide that the code is indeed okay. So we'll head back and let's just refresh the page once again and see where we stand. But what we should find now is that when we click on this, well, we've not really solved the problem because we've still got the trash can loading and the minus icon loading. Bit more work to do, but before we do, let's take a look at why we're getting not a number here, because that's the most obvious problem that stops our application functioning. I mean, we could get away with the loading indicators, and yeah, sure, when it comes back from user testing, they'll say, no, 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 no. We don't want that. We want these buttons to be individual loading indicators, and you'd say, okay, I'll do the extra work to fix that. But let's take a look at what's happening when we remove an item. So we've got our basket item pending, and when we click on this and when we jump to this, then we can see that the issue here is that both of these status flags for loading indicators is the same, and that's fine. But let's jump to the next one, the fulfilled, and see what happened here that caused this to become not a number. So we need to see what we're passing in our action. And we've got our type parameter, or our type prefix, and that's fine. But if we take a look at the metadata and take a look in the arguments and see that we're passing product ID of 14. Okay, what about the quantity? Where's that inside here? If we take a look at the state and go to our basket and go to the items, a bit difficult to see there, but what about the difference? What was it before and what is it becoming now? And if we take a look at the difference here and go into the basket and see the items, then our quantity is changing from 9 to null. And this is the reason we're getting not a number in our user interface. And it comes back to this action. Inside the meta and the argument here, where's the quantity? And if we don't set a quantity, then we're setting the state of that item to be null. And that's the cause of our issue. If we go back to the basket slice, where we're using our async function, then it's this point here where we're setting the item quantity. And it's this quantity here which TypeScript did warn us about. TypeScript said to us, hey, this could be undefined. And I said, no, TypeScript, I know better than you. This cannot be undefined. But I was not correct. This can and is undefined because our quantity here clearly is a problem. And it's not coming in our action.meta.argument. We didn't see it there. We saw the product ID, but we did not see the quantity there. So if we scroll up and go back to our async function, create async func, then I suggested that by adding or setting a value for the quantity here, that meant it could not be null down in our cases down here. But that was not correct. This argument is not coming from this part of the function. Otherwise, we would have it available inside our argument. So it isn't there. And to resolve this, what we're going to need to do is remove the value from this. We're going to need to make this not optional. We're going to need to make this a required property. And we're going to have to pass the quantity with the function. I don't think there's another way around this, and it's not a big problem to do what we're about to do. It just means that when we're decrementing the item quantity by 1, we're just going to say 1 in the method there. That way, the arguments is coming into list methods, and we'll have it available as an argument for our quantity. Now, if we scroll down, because I've made the quantity not optional, then TypeScript knows this has to be available, and we don't need to use the exclamation mark to get around this. Let's go back to the basket page and adjust the methods inside here as well. So when we're removing a basket item, we're going to have to supply a value for the quantity as well. And we're going to set that to 1 in the case of decrementing an item. And the other method, we were already specifying the quantity anyway. So has this resolved the problem? Well, let's go check. And let's just refresh the page once again. And let's keep the React DevTools open, and let's just remove an item from here. Now we can see it's gone down to 7. The badge is fine in the top right, and all of our subtotal and total values are also correct. And if we go and take a look at the DevTools once again, and we take a look at the action, and see what's available in the meta and the arg here, now we can see that we're getting the quantity value, hence the reason we've now solved that problem. One more problem to solve though, and that's to deal with this annoying problem of loading indicators where we're setting both at the same time. We're going to need to add a third property so that we have another argument available inside here, so that we can add another argument to our status so that we can use that inside our button. So we'll head back, and in our basket slice, let's head up to the remove basket item. Let's just try and move things down a bit so we can see what's happening. And I'm going to give a third property here. I am going to make this one optional, and this is going to be a type of string. And we don't actually need to use this inside this method because it's not related. As we've already seen, we didn't get the quantity value in our metadata below because that comes from here. And based on what we've seen, we know that we get the arguments passed from here to here, but we don't need the name to be passed from here to here. We can just leave this as a property, an optional property for the type parameters here. But when we do call this method, then we're going to have our name property available inside the metadata for this method. And let's scroll on down, and inside our pending action, as well as the product ID, what we'll do is specify plus action.meta.arg.name. So we're going to append a further thing onto this, and that'll allow us to target the specific button that's being clicked. So back to the basket page, and we're going to get quite busy in our onClick handler here. So let's just move this down as well. And for the delete option, what we will specify is we'll specify name, and we'll set it to del for delete. And then in the loading status, we can specify plus del as well to ensure that we're only going to show this loading indicator when that name is set to del, and the product ID also matches the product ID we've clicked on. We'll just do the same for the remove button as well, since we've got an equality check, and we'll specify plus rem, and we'll do the same in this dispatch function as well. We'll specify the extra property of name, and we'll specify rem. So with this change in place as well, we should have a fully functional and what we're looking for basket page, and we should be able to remove an item, and we only see a single loading indicator, not a number, anything, and if we click on a trash can, then that's gone from the list as well. So interesting little challenge, and hopefully gave you an opportunity to test out your troubleshooting skills. And if you didn't get it, it's no problem, because I just also wanted to demonstrate how useful the React DevTools are to come and get information about what's going on when you're developing your Redux and React application. I've never found a better development tool than this to do such a thing. So please do take advantage of it whenever you're not sure why something is happening that shouldn't be happening, at least in your mind, to get information about why things are happening the way they are. The console is also a very useful place to go, and is also something you should certainly check every time that something doesn't work as you would expect it to. I've still got some warnings to clear up. I'm just going to go back and do those now. So we'll go to our basket page, open that, and let's just go and remove anything that we're not using. So I'm just going to remove all of the unused imports from in here. And where was the other one? That was the product details. And we have that at the top. And I'll just scroll up and remove the set basket here. And we should go check the product details as well, but I'll just refresh the page. And we'll click on the catalog. We'll go to core red boots, and it doesn't look like I've got it in my cart, but we'll just go and add this to the cart, and we want to see that go up by 2, of course, and that has. And let's just try removing one of these, and we'll update the quantity, and that goes down to 14. That looks good as well. So we've now got our complete basket functionality in our store, and what we'll take a look at next is dealing with the catalog, because I'm sure you've noticed, but we have a lot of loading going on, even if we're just going from component to component, or we're loading a product we should already have. We're seeing loading everywhere. And we're going to take a look at how we can address that next.